Number 4 leads. That's Werner Cole and Scott Taylor. And to turn number 1, things are going to be a bit tricky here because these sidecars, I'm sure, all have their slick tires on. Here comes number 3 up the inside. That's Jean-Guy Ratcliffe and Yvonne Dessy. Dessy, your new race leaders. Now into turn number 2 for the first time. Oh, a bit of a waggle of the rear end there from Yvonne Dessy and Jean-Guy Ratcliffe. As remember, this track is a bit wet, and they are running out their slick tires, and they probably don't have them up to speed or up to temperature. Here's a pass for third, and somebody has some horsepower passing the Courant machine. We interviewed one of those riders earlier. So here comes your race leaders. If you're still out watching, braving the elements. Oh, and a rider's coming off. That's the number 4 machine. They're doing some dandelion mowing. Let's see if they can rejoin the field. And all the other riders staying wide. And the number 4 machine rejoining. So Steve Sunderland and Kevin Gale inherit second place from the number 4 machine's mistake. From Werner Cole and Scott Taylor's mistake. So a 12-lap race. In the riders meeting today, someone said, have you ever held on to the back of a sidecar for 12 laps? And people just chuckled. I bet you with the conditions out there today, things are going to be more than a little interesting. I think it may come down to mental fitness, trying to haul down the 1100cc engines. Number 12 in the lead, Steve Sunderland and Kevin Gale. Number 4, Werner Cole and Scott Taylor are trying to correct their lead, or correct what they lost earlier on this corner. They spun out. Oh, look at that nasty, nasty wiggle. These guys are all running in slick tires. The 181 machine side by side racing, Paul Whitaker and Marie Whitaker. Here's the 151 machine of Christine Ratcliffe and Sandy Harris. Oh, gee, and a rider, the monkey, coming off. Still hanging on, being dragged like a piece of baggage. Backed on, well done. Wow. How would you like to be that guy? You know, the handlebar gets a bit slippy, and wow. So treacherous conditions starting to happen now. And the flag wavers, the marshals, have been told to have I can't remember what flag they're supposed to have in their hand, and that's the flag to indicate that the driver has lost his passenger. Do you remember? The debris flag is supposed to be in their hands so that if someone comes off the sidecar, then they can realize that before making the next left-hand turn, which would be very bad. But it was like a puff of smoke after the monkey being dragged for about 30 feet. The driver's still keeping momentum. Let's not slow down, just keep hanging on. We'll drag you down the front straight if we have to, but here they come. Working as a team again. He's wearing sneakers as well because he needs ankle flexibility. Probably wore a bit of holes in those Nikes. I don't know if the warranty cover is being dragged by a sidecar. Rain has slowly stopped, still spitting just a bit. That's the number 4 machine of Werner Cole and Scott Taylor. Here's the 36 of Craig Barr and Ewan Brown. Brown the monkey, then the 181 of Paul Whitaker, Marie Whitaker, husband and wife team. Then Ron Brooks and Gord Barr coming down. And that's the 15 machine with the nice blue or nice white racing stripes. And 151, Christine and Sandy Harris. So conditions are not that good for these poor sidecar fellows and gals. We've got slick tires. It's hard to get any heat into them when the ground is covered in water. And if you can't get the heat into them, it's hard for them to stick. I just love watching the 181 machine, the vintage sidecar machine, as the guy hangs out and basically drags his face along the pavement. And that's Marie Whitaker, who's the one who's dragging her face across the pavement. Now getting into some lap traffic as your lead machine, Steve Sutherland and Kevin Gale, still together. Despite Steve's utmost attempt at losing his monkey a few laps back. So there's 3 types of sidecars that you're watching. We have the vintage machines, which is like Paul Whitaker and Marie Whitaker's. That's the sort of red machine. Looks like a motorcycle with a sidecar attached, more conventional. Those are the vintage ones. Then we have the worm type machine, which is like Steve Sutherland and Kevin Gale's, which are the fastest of the fast. The driver sits in front of the engine. All the weight on that rear tire, putting power to the ground. Here's that vintage machine, or 181. Got to be some good trust in that relationship for a husband and wife team to go out sidecar racing. Here are 2 worm machines. Here's your race leader, the number 12 machine. Stylish gray paint on there. Number 3 machine has been lapped. And here comes number 15. Number 15, that's one of the ones where the rider sits on top of the machine. That's a conventional type sidecar. So last lap action here for the sidecars. Coming up next, Bear Chair Company Amateur 250 Grand Prix. Amateur 250 Grand Prix riders, you should be at the mock grid. Amateur 250 riders to the mock grid. Your race is next. Welcome to all the folks braving the changing conditions here. Good thing about sidecars is that you can carry a lot of groceries on them as you go around in town. But here comes your race winner, number 12, Steve Sutherland and Kevin Gale. And in second place, we have Jean-Guy Ratcliffe and Yvonne Dessy. But A fantastic race, even for the race leaders, after the monkey was almost out of the bag or off the back of the sidecar. If you ever get an opportunity to ride on one of these machines, take it, because it is very exciting. Best amusement ride you could possibly have. And the Whitakers coming through to take the checkered flag. And your race winner will now come around for a lap of victory. That'll be Steve Sutherland and Kevin Gale driving their Kawasaki ZX 1100 powered machine. And they're going to come down and collect the checkered flag. Well done to both of these guys. Put your hands together. That's Steve Sutherland and Kevin Gale. Sponsored by Golden Gate Margarine, Chicago Bar and Grill, Over the Top Roofing. These riders will be making up the top 4 positions. Here's Bob Close on his Ducati. Excuse me, coming down into position 341, Michael Borg. Borg, the Riders Plus Insurance sponsored rider, is borrowing Jeff Lowe's machine after Borg wanted up his 250, I guess, yesterday. So red flag conditions. Rest of the competitors are being wheeled into the right area. Under starters orders. Lights turn green. Dave Maluski, our race leader. Dave Maluski and Bob Close hot on his heels. Here's Close. Can Close pass up the inside? No, Maluski maintains the lead. Close in second. Maluski, number 311, all black leathers. Close in second. Oh, a nice pass for the 4th place position. Try and figure out who that is. I think it's either 112 or 712. 712 would make it Frank Silva. That makes sense. And Close takes over the lead. Here comes Bob Close, your new race leader. 311 Maluski, John Dempsey in 3rd. And now Close extending the lead after only 1 lap. I guess getting some heat into the tires. And there's a pass for 3rd place. That's Silva, Frank Silva, moving up a place. Putting number 63, John Dempsey, down a position. Bob Close, sun coming out again, drying things off. Bob Close with a nice lead. Close picking up the bike there. I don't know whether he started squirming a bit. But here comes your race leader, Bob Close, number 40. 311 Maluski, 712 Frank Silva. Silva, I think, is the one on the chart. Sondergaard there. 74 Ravel Laneville. Angela Heba on her 125. A good assortment of machines in this category. Amateur 250 Grand Prix brought to you by the Bear Chair Company. Dave Wright, owner and president. Oh, and there's a diving pass up the inside. Well, an attempted pass in through turn 4. That was Brian Peterson trying to pass the 129 or the 59 machine, the 125. That's Jason Hayes. So Peterson and Hayes having a good battle. Hayes doing well to be up there. Hayes number 59. He's sort of got the turquoise green machine. Leaders going past now. There's Hayes. Hayes on the tail of John Dempsey. Hayes on a 125 doing quite well. There's number 4, Matt Binns, also doing well for 125 in the 250 race. Bob Close out in front. Frank Silva slowly catching up to these riders. 3-1-1 of Maluski in second. All black leathers, all black bike. We'll see how Close is doing coming around this section. He sort of picked the bike up a bit. Yeah, he sort of has a little bobble there through that section. I don't know whether he loses the front end. Here's Bob Close down the start-finish straight. .361 Brian Peterson making a charge. And Maluski now on the tail section of Bob Close. Remember, Close was very fast in the early laps yesterday, but then sort of faded away. I don't know whether it was his tires just getting cooked by the power of the Ducati. Close dragging his knee around turn 4. Seems to like turn 4. He pulls a little distance there from Maluski, but the top 3 riders still within striking distance of each other. Rider 138 coming into the pits. Remember, the pits are still a hot. That's Kevin Baker. Okay, here's your leaders. Around the start-finish straight. Maluski now the closest he's been. 712 Frank Silva there, very close as well. Let's see if Maluski can pass going into turn 2. If Maluski can get into the draft. No, not this time. Close tips it in. Maluski in second. Silva there to capitalize on any mistakes the front runner should make. Bear Chair Company bringing you this Amateur 250 Grand Prix, and McBride Cycle bringing you the sponsorship for today. Glad to have them aboard. Such a strong, oh, and Maluski up the inside, passing Close. Maluski, well, that great pass there, diving pass. Close sort of left the door wide open there. He took the wide racing line, and Maluski has grabbed the lead from Bob Close. Coming around onto the start-finish straights. Top 3 riders are very, very close together now. Let's see if Bob Close can maybe draft pass through into turn 2. And Maluski late on the brakes. Silva now catching up to Close. And Maluski extending the lead by a few bike lengths. I think Close is a little faster through this turn 4 Sterling Moss carousel. And he might make up some ground. Yeah, I think he has a little more punch coming out of that corner. Oh, Silva up the inside does exactly what Maluski did the time before. Silva goes in a second. So we have Maluski out in front, Silva in second, Close in third. and Silva catch Milewski now. Well, there's close up the inside, making that pass seem effortless. Can he maintain that position? So close, just drives past Silva. Silva says enough of that. I'm going to pass you again into turn 2. So second and third place trading positions back and forth twice within 2 corners. Here comes close up the inside. Late on the brakes is Silva and holds off close. Turning around. And I think Silva is almost caught up to Milewski now. So I think Silva needs his turn at the front of the racetrack. And then the top 3 riders would be, and there's number 59 having a great run at it. On a 125, that's Jason Hayes. 361, Brian Peterson. 99, Sondergaard. 341, that's Michael Borg. Leaders having a good battle. Silva has sort of pulled away from close, and Milewski has separated himself from these two. I think they're probably slowing each other down, worrying about second and third when they should just put their heads down and try to get up to the leader, which is Dave Milewski out in front, all black leathers, all black bike. Silva very late on the brakes into turn number 5, and I think he catches up a bit of ground there on Milewski. Here's your race leader, 311, Dave Milewski, and then it's Frank Silva, Bob Close, number 40. In 4th place, the 125. Here's Brian Peterson. Oh, and here comes Close. Close trying to close up onto Silva, but Silva later on the brakes, I think carries a little more corner speed than Close. And the leader now getting into some lap traffic. If he can zap by these guys quick enough, they won't get stuck behind them, and it looks like Bob Close is going to get, yeah, Bob sort of hung up there. Oh, taking the outside route. Rider on the 125 sort of pulling over and letting the other riders, and almost taking out the 4th place rider. Here comes the leader through a battle. Very tricky to make your way through a bunch of guys. He has the time to take his hand off the handlebars and wave to the guy in mid-corner for letting him over. Like, just, oh yes, my knees on the ground, I'm sliding the bike. Oh, thanks very much for letting me pass, no problem. Your leader, Dave Milewski, 311, consummate gentleman, thanking the riders for letting him through. Silva also through close, is not so lucky, gets mired in the lap traffic. Bear Chair Company Amateur 250 Grand Prix. Turning out to be very exciting. Here's Bob Close, almost on the edge of the racetrack. And Close, one of the lap riders says, I'm not going to be lapped by Close, and Close is balked again here. It's Bob Close having a tough time getting around this lap traffic. It's hard though when the lap traffic doesn't know that you're lapping them. They just think it's somebody behind them. Here's your leader coming around to take the last lap flag. If Silva's going to do anything, it has to be on this lap. Can Frank Silva catch up to Dave Milewski? Oh, Milewski pulls away so much there between corners 1 and 2. Silva, 1 more lap to go. Got about 10 bike lengths. That seems almost insurmountable unless Milewski sort of blows a corner or misses a shift or something. Silva has the target in sight. Silva coming through corner 4. If he can get the drive down, it might come down to this corner here. Silva late on the brakes, catching up to Milewski. I don't think he's going to be able to do it because he's only got 2 more turns to go. Coming through Allen's corner, you don't want to throw it away now in the last lap. It'll be a drag race to hole, and Silva's bike moving around. Here's your race winner, number 311, Dave Maluski. Bob Close taking 4th, and then the 59 machine, Jason Hayes taking 5th. Ryan Peterson happy with his finishing allotment. Put your hands together. Here's 311 Dave Maluski. And Dave. And excuse me, the number number 17 machine on a 125. Lights change to green. Oh, and holding the wheelie to the utmost. Stuart Nodell taking the lead, keeping the wheel in the air, about a foot in the air for about 2 gears. And it looks like Chris Knowles trying to come up the inside, but can't get past the wiry Mike McNeil. So it's Nodell leading McNeil, leading Chris Knowles. Sandy Noche there in 4th. See what happens as they come around for the first time. Nodell, then McNeil. Oh, and around the outside. Well, almost around the outside. In fact, it was around the outside. That's Knowles making a diving pass. I was astounded that someone can do that into that corner. So Knowles takes away 2nd place from McNeil. 37, Nodell. Knowles in 2nd. Villahola in there on his 125, so Bandeni not the only one. Oh, and a pass for the lead. Well, he showed him a wheel. Nodell leads Chris Knowles. Knowles with the yellow and orange machine. Well, actually the yellow machine, orange led. McNeil up the inside. Getting right back at Chris Knowles for that rather very good pass. And one of the cars driving straight across the grass, coming very close to our racers. Hopefully we can get the car back around the other way. It's got to be a little distracting when you see a car trundling across the grass towards your racing line. Nodell, 37. McNeil, number 65. And now Knowles being passed by Sandy Noche. So Noche up into 3rd place. Sandy Noche, Pro 6 Cycle sponsored rider. He is up into 3rd place. Coming around these into the Sterling Moss Carousel. McNeil closing up on the tail section of Nodell. This is the closest McNeil's been. Let's see. But Nodell seems to have the squirt out of that corner 4. McNeil makes up, well, a couple of feet there under brakes as they go around the abbreviated Allen's corner. Here's Nodell, your race leader. McNeil looking threatening. Down the start-finish straight. Let's see if McNeil can set him up for a drafting pass into turn 2. No, McNeil I don't think is close enough. But Chris Knowles is close enough to Noche to do exactly that. The drafting pass under brakes into turn 2. So Knowles goes back into 3rd. And McNeil now on the tail of Nodell. 37. Nodell has been leading the race after a brilliant start. Had the front tire in the air, Stuart Nodell, but now under pressure from Mike McNeil. McNeil might just be biding his time. Track nice and dry now. And it looks like we might have clear skies for the rest of the day. Hopefully that's it for the rain. Oh, and getting around a lapped rider. Nodell does an excellent job. I think McNeil might have been slowed down just a little bit. Here's your race leader. Nodell, 65, is in second. That's Mike McNeil. Sandy Noche, who runs and owns Pro 6 Cycle. Oh, and Phil Anhola getting around the 250 of Jeff Lowe. A very good job of doing that. Here's McKay. And Matt Denny coming around the start-finish straight. Nodell pulling away from McNeil. McNeil losing a bit of touch. He lost some ground a few laps ago to a lapped rider, and I don't think he's going to be able to catch up to Nodell. Nodell is running a fantastic race. Right from the get-go has led, unless McNeil can pull something out of his hat. Track completely dry. I think there's just that one wet spot in by the final turn. Can McNeil do it? Chris Knowles in a lonely third, Sandy Noche in a lonely fourth. Last lap flag being shown to these riders. Last lap. And this the Pro 250 Grand Prix sponsored by Woody's Cycle. Oh, and McNeil catching a little bit, but cannot seem to close in on Stuart Nodell. A couple more corners. Nodell just can't blow things. You just want to be perfect on the last couple of corners in a race. You don't want to do anything silly. Concentrating on just making it to the checkered flag. And here comes your race winner, number 37, Stuart Nodell. And in third place, it's Chris Knowles coming across the start-finish line. Sandy Noche takes a well-earned fourth. And the 125 beats the 250. And there's the 62 of Jeff Lowe coming across the start-finish line. Matt Denny across the line. And here's your race winner from start to finish, number 37, Stuart Nodell. He'll take the checkered flag for a lap of victory. Sponsored by Safety Strap Racing, Dymax Tool and Die, Bablo Office Services, Wasp Performance Engines. Yeah, well, it's actually a vintage Ducati, but it's allowed to compete. So these 4 men will take checks home today if they keep their bikes upright, because they pay money for the 1st to 5th riders. If you had a Ducati, you should be out there and you would get $50 just for showing up. It'd almost be worth it just for having the thrill of racing some other Ducatis around a really fine racetrack such as this. In open, we have Harrison and Forbes, then it's Lightfoot, Rivets, Harris, and Crosley in the 350 with Rob and Rob. Then 250 Orr, Shingleton, Hall, and Willerton, and Coltman bringing up the final position. Just organizing the folks at the back. Under starters' orders, lights turn green, and Bob Close, an excellent start. Close. Let's see where number 79 Scott Webb slipping into side by side with the 2nd place rider. I think Webb is going to have the advantage coming through turn 3. So Scott Webb up into 2nd place. Bob Close, your race leader. And that'll be Livingston, number 33, in 3rd with the fluorescent orange rims. And from 3rd to 5th, or 3rd to 1st, goes Livingston. A very nice late braking pass. Number 33. That's Ken Livingston coming around the start-finish straight. Your new race leader, Ken Livingston. Can he hold off the charge from Scott Webb? Webb looked like he might want to try there on the entrance to turn 1. Instead, he says, I'm going to drag race you to turn 2 and outbrake you. Scott Webb takes the lead. Number 79, Scott Webb, puts Ken Livingston back to 2nd. That's the battle at the front of the field. Now, Scott Webb does what he's done in the past. That will be to start to put some distance between himself and the rest of the riders. A 12-lap race is a long time. And can he maintain the mental focus needed to keep extending and extending the lead? He's done it in the past. So Webb leads. 33, Ken Livingston. Bob Close, number 40. 199, Rich Wilson on the vintage Ducati. That's 111. Harrison leading in the open category over Forbes. And trying to see who's leading the 78 or 79. That was Broad. Harris there in 147 Crosley. So it might be a Lightfoot, Rivet, Harris, and Crosley now. 774 or 721 of Rob, and a bunch of the 250s squeaking through on the start-finish straight. And 180 of Coltman. That's Jeff Coltman. Scott Webb, 79. 33, Ken Livingston, checking over his shoulder. No one's there. Up close, number 40. Number 199. 79, Rich Wilson. 383 is Forbes and Harrison having a private war of their own. Now let's see who's the leader here coming around. That's 79. That's Rivet. So Rivet is leading all of these riders here. Harris, I think, is third. 147 Crosley, that's for the 350 category. And 774 in the 250 category. So 250 category riders have white numbers on green. 350 have white numbers on blue. Pro riders have black numbers on white. And red numbers on white is amateur. So does that make you confused or not? So anyhow, there's 4 classes racing out there now. Now getting in some lap traffic. I think this is the battle on the field right here between 383 and 111 Harrison. They are the closest guys battling. The rest of the field has sort of strung out. Scott Webb with laser eye precision, slicing through some of the back markers. Number 79, he leads the Ducati race. Number 7, there's Singleton getting lapped. It's really not fair to say you got lapped because you're riding a 250cc machine getting blown away by a 1000cc monster. It's, well, understandable. Wilson. Harrison and Forbes, they are the ones having the battle of the afternoon. If Forbes can get closer, this is 180 Coltman. Close, gets the half distance flags. Half distance for this Ducati Cup Vintage Open 350 and 250. Sponsored by McBride Cycle. Celebrating 10 decades of being in service. I guess motorcycles being led on to the Fabi circuit. That's probably going to be a little disconcerting for these riders here in the race to see a couple of motorcycles out on the other circuit. You don't know if they've just gotten lost, whether or not they're involved in your category. But I guess being professionals, these guys are trying to block it out of their minds. So it's sort of exciting to see state-of-the-art Ducati equipment mixed in with state-of-the-art equipment that was perhaps 30 years old. Some of these 350s and 250s mixed in with that. Here's the number 7 machine, Shingleton. He's in the 250 category because he has whites on green background. Oh, and a good gang of riders coming around the start-finish line. And Harrison swat through those riders. I'd like to see what Scott Webb's pitboard says. How much is he ahead by? Oh, can you show us the pitboard there as you wait for Scott Webb to go around? I guess no one can really hear me down at the pit wall because it's so loud with these machines. Great to see all the riders enjoying the afternoon. Glad we're through with the nasty weather. Looks like it's going to remain clear for the rest of the day. I'm Karsten Neighbor, glad to be with you. And announcing these races for the next season. Certainly have a lot of fun, a lot of good people here out racing motorcycles, a lot of people who spend the winter tinkering and building the machines and then bringing them out for this, the first weekend, and getting the bugs ironed out of them. Saying that they didn't have body work for their machines yet, or missing some other vital parts, so racing under less than ideal conditions, but I think that'll probably make them faster in the long run. Bob Close having a back end step out a bit as he exited the final turn. In 111, slowing down. Oh, he better go to the inside of the track. He can't stay there. Tell him to come to the inside. Don't stay on the outside of the track. At least if he's the inside, he'll be safe. Now he can't pull across. Now there's a bunch of riders coming up. Okay, just stay there for a moment, man. Don't move. Wait till the riders go past you, and then I don't know what he's doing. He should go certainly at the tail end of this. He should really go to the inside of the track, that's for sure. It's going to wait for a marshal now. The marshal will signal him to come across, because staying on the racetrack is probably not the safest place. So they'll wait for a gap in the traffic. So something mechanical letting go. They should really pull him off to the inside. Marshall and 111 Harrison, I think, is just going to paddle and well, go around the pit wall. That sounds a bit dangerous, but still. Now, what he could have done to finish with some points is he could have pulled over to the inside of the track and parked his bike just before. Could have parked himself just before the start-finish line and waited there until the checkered flag came out. Then he could have pedaled across the checkered flag and gotten some points for that. I think that's still allowed. But what's allowed is for this guy to slow down right up. Here's your winner, number 79, Scott Webb. And 383 Forbes inherits that win in the open category. Checkered flag being waved in this Vintage Open, 500, 350, 250. Next up, amateur Formula Race riders. But first, put your hands together for Scott Webb, your race winner. Sponsored by Brampton Cycle, Ducati Performance. And he will inherit some cash from this win from $250 is what he gets for that. Olsen, McDonald, Jensen, and Taylor make up row 1. Then it's Kelk, Brooking, and Tufford. Larocque, Faskin, Pava, and Pascal, row 3. Row 4, we have Hines, Taylor, Alessandrini. Row 5 is Vanderland, Zippori, and Hayes, and joined with Salimi. Dubar Jr., Murray, and Nebesny make up row 6. DeCash, Forknall, Attardo, and Lang. Then it's Michael Borg, 341, Lauder, and Martin, 691. Row 8, Thibault, DeJagger, Hammer, and Tyndale make up row 9, the final row. Now, number 15, try and find him here. I actually don't see him on the grid, so we're missing a few riders. '49 Olsen under starter's orders. Olsen with a bit of a jump, but if the light was green, he has the lead. 49 Olsen in the lead. So Chris Olsen leads this amateur Formula race sponsored by Parker Brothers Power Sports. Olsen, then the number 9 of Jensen. And then it's Bruce McDonald, number 911. So Bruce McDonald's first year of racing, doing exceptionally well in the top 3 here. Chris Olsen showing them how it's done. Coming around the start, finished straight for the first time. Chris Olsen on that red and white machine. Number 9, Jensen in second. Owen Kelk now starting to threaten Bruce McDonald. Watches Kelk, might come up the inside, late braking into turn 2. No, McDonald very late on the brakes, holds off a charge from Owen Kelk. Chris Olsen, number 49, with the lead now. He continues around through turn number 4. Olsen running away from the rest of the crowd. Jensen in second. McDonald trying to hold off 160 Owen Kelk. Then it's the 25 machine of Ken Faskin. 110 making a nice pass up the inside. That's Sean Thibault. So Thibault moves up. Oh, and Ryder down, crashing. That was our race leader. 4-9, Chris Olsen crashing hard out of turn 3. And that gives the lead to Jensen. Number 9, Steve Jensen, inherits the lead. So a very, very fast crash. And Olsen out of the path of any more blanks. He's going to watch the remainder of the race from one of the best seats in the house. That's at the tire wall. Jensen leads. McDonald in second. Number 25, Ken Faskin. Top 3 riders. And this amateur Formula race sponsored by Parker Brothers Power Sports. yellow flag being displayed to the riders. He had a nasty tumble there. It's a very, very fast left-hand corner. Must have just tucked the front end. So now the front three riders, we've got Steve Jensen, your race leader. Bruce McDonald sitting up a bit as the bike was loading up under turning. Number 9, Jensen, your leader. 9-1-1, Bruce McDonald, and then 160, Owen Kelk. And Ken Faskin sort of dropping away. There's Thibault and 16, Trevor Brooking. The 165 machine, that's Mark Forknall, making way past the start finish straight. Race leader coming around the start finish straight. Steve Jensen, Bruce McDonald, Owen Kelk, Ken Faskin, Sean Thibault, number 16 Brooking, 451 and 91 having a good battle. That's the 173 on the blue R6, sponsored by GCR Glenn Clark Racing Parts Canada and Mike Rush Racing. And it's Adrian Nebesny having a good time today, trying to put that R6 up farther in the field. We'll see what he can do as the race continues. Half distance flags. Coming up next, the Parker Brothers Power Sports Pro Formula Race, the feature race of the afternoon, coming up next. '34, Randy LaRocque, having a good run, seeing what he can do to move himself up in the standings. When you think about these riders are traveling at huge speeds going into turn 1. And I'm just being flashed a sign. Number 49 does a 56.85. So rider number 49, Chris Olsen, even though he'll be unhappy that he crashed his machine, he will be happy that he set a new lap record. So number 49, Chris Olsen, setting a new lap record of 58.85. He begins his walk back to the pit area. So congratulations to Chris Olsen, getting his name in the record books. Steve Jensen, number 9. Jensen around the start finish straight for one more lap. Bruce McDonald trying to catch up. Owen Kelk here, 160. 25 of Brooking. Sorry, that's Ken Faskin. There's 16, Trevor Brooking. 98 is Chris Tufford. 66 is Victor Pava. There's a battle between the 53 machine of Eli Dakash. .173, Adrian Nebesny, all alone there, being trailed by the 666 machine of Ron Lang. Bruce McDonald, number 911. Owen Kelk, 160. Sean Thibault in 4th. On the track walk I went on Friday, it's amazing to see how close to the turtles these guys come. Basically, they will put their foot peg in the hollow between the turtle and the road and ride around with the foot peg just off the turtle and lift their knee up so their knee doesn't drag on the turtle proper. So that's how close these guys are running, and their tire, whoa, in a nasty moment. 173, Adrian Nebesny had a moment there. Shannonville Motorsport Park. McBride Cycle sponsoring today's race. We have one more race coming up as this one winds down. One more lap to go. Can Steve Jensen hold on to the lead? One more turn to go, a short straight. Number 9, Steve Jensen. There will be some happy folks in his pit tonight. Steve Jensen, an amazing win.